How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Monsters. This is Season 3, Episode 15, and this one's entitled The Space Eaters. It originally came out January 6, 1991, so yeah, we're getting into the very last year of Monsters, less than half a season to go. That's crazy. This episode was directed by Robert T. Megginson and stars Richard Clarke, Mark Hulswit, and Richard M. Hughes, and this is also based on a short story by Frank Belknap Long. I'd actually heard of his stories before because I was a huge fan of the game Arkham Horror, and he wrote the short story The Hounds of Tindalos, and the Hounds of Tindalos are one of the characters you can encounter in that game. And when I did a little research for this episode, I found that a lot of his short stories are available as audiobooks for free on YouTube. I might just after this go and listen to a couple of them because it's really some cool old school horror sci-fi short stories, and I gotta love adaptations of classic horror literature, so always cool to see Monsters doing that. And that is really a big pro with this episode. It really is dripping with like classical horror atmosphere. You know, two old men in a mansion while there's a big storm outside and they're drinking and something's coming, and what's coming, I don't want to spoil what it is, but it's this really weird sci-fi horror concept that's actually a bit ahead of its time. When you find out what the thing wants and what it's trying to do with it, it is a really interesting idea. So overall, dripping with atmosphere, a really cool concept. And I will say, again, try not to ruin it, when you actually see what the thing is towards the end of the episode, it does get a little bit campy. But that being said, I still absolutely love it, and the ending of the episode managed to really heat up and get fun, and it really just has this feeling of like the strange and bizarre and unexplainable. And when you get to hear them talking, especially this one old war story a guy tells, it really again is a good atmospheric episode. So yeah, I definitely recommend this. I always say I prefer Monsters to be serious, and this is serious, but it's also serious with classical horror styling, so this is going to be a big pro from me. But anyway, before we get too far, what's the episode about? I'm gonna do a little bit of breakdown and analysis, and I'll say my piece on a few plot points. I'll be avoiding the ending, so I'll try not to spoil anything major, but without further ado, let's take a deeper dive. We open up in a mansion during a thunderstorm, and we get to see one of the characters peer out the window before he goes back to his game, and we find that our two main characters are old men and their old friends. One of them is the doctor on this small fishing island where the story is set, and he's like the only doctor on this entire island, and you get that sense of isolation just finding this out. And his friend is constantly beating him at chess, and he says, it's because you play mathematically and I play instinctually. If I don't know what I'm going to do, how will you know? And it's an interesting little idea that really does set apart the two men's philosophies. One's more mathematical, one's more instinctual. We're defining our characters in an interesting way. Well, they start to notice that there's no lights anywhere in the city. Everything looks strangely calm and deserted. And then the guy with the instinct says, wait a minute, I think someone's coming. And sure enough, a fisherman knocks on their door and he collapses, and they take him into the doctor's office to find he's got a big hole in his head. At first they think he was shot, but when they x-ray him, not only do they find no bullet, but they find no brain. The man starts to ramble about things like, I can't be in two places at once, and I want my mind back. So we're going into some weird and strange territory there, and when they get him talking, he starts talking about the strange and unexplained light, and how it started taking everyone else in the village, and it sounds like these two people who are up away at the mansion might just be the sole survivors of that attack. Something took everyone else, and it's coming for them. That is a good bit of tension, a good dark and stormy night story. And then plus the doctor's friend, he starts telling this old war story when he finds out the guy has no brain. He says, I was at war, and I saw a man get his head blown clean off, and even though he had no head, he kept walking, and because he had enough of his neck, he had his vocal cords, and he was screaming with no head and still walking. That is a good, messed up, dark war story, and just between this and the way the men will muse and talk about things and debate how is it even possible for a man to live without a brain, this is new scientific grounds. I do love the way that we get these two talking. It's 100% serious, it's super interesting, and it does go into the macabre. This conversation really helps with the atmosphere, but of course whatever's out there is going to come in. And yeah, we do get some cheesier moments, but it is some fun over-the-top stuff, and it always has this sense of desperation, like maybe we can defeat it if we can just figure out what it is and what it wants, and again, what it wants is a super interesting idea. Overall, this was a fun episode. It really surprised me. I love the atmosphere, and it's always great to see an adaptation of a cool old-school horror story. This one was pretty fun, and I do want to say, this season of Monsters is turning out some good episodes. So far, I'm liking season 3 way better than season 2. So yeah, go check this one out. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Monsters playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about the past episodes of the show, you should be able to find them there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.